What's up everyone? This is Alex, and this is the moment we've been waiting for. We're gonna make candied pumpkin seeds. Instead of tossing them away, we're gonna save them, turn them into like a sweet, smoky, spicy, delicious topping for very many things, and we're gonna change the world by doing so. So let's get into it. Right, so now you've had those little sweet pumpkins and you've emptied them and you've taken the seeds out. You can even do it with like an acorn or kabocha or whatever, but here's the tea. Sweet pumpkins or sugar pumpkins have like the least tough, the least fibrous seeds. So I got my seeds, I got about a cup of seeds out of here, and then I'm gonna bring it over to the sink and then give it a nice little rinse. We're trying to clean them off, and you see there's all these kind of bits of actual pumpkin in here, and these have higher sugar content, and if we don't get rid of them, they're gonna burn faster than the seeds. So I'm rinsing that, and look at these pretty seeds now. Back over here, I have my little pot on, and it's important when you candy stuff that you use a smaller pot. Less surface area that's likely to burn if you get like a smaller pot, you know what I mean? All right, so seeds, about a cup of seeds, go back in here. Next step, I'm gonna do a simple syrup. I'm gonna cook those in a simple syrup. So it's gonna be 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar, 1/3 of a cup also of water. So this is just a 1-for-1 simple syrup. All right, now to flavor this all up and make it smoky and spicy and amazing, I have 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, smoked paprika. So this is a sweet pepper that's dried and then smoked. And then I have 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And this is just to really give it a spicy kick. If you're not so cool with spicy, just skip it, all right? So that goes all up in here, and we're gonna put that over high heat. When you're making anything caramel-like, it doesn't necessarily need to be stirred a ton, because you're most likely to get it granulated if you stir and stir and stir. So we put it over high heat and we let it go. Once it comes up to a boil, we're gonna get about a 10-minute timer and boil it for about 10 minutes. All right, so this here is fully up to a boil now. As you can see, it's really small bubbles all around the corner. And I'm gonna just give it a nice little swirl, like this. But we're gonna start checking it way before the timer is over. What we're looking for is the bubble to be slightly bigger. So as the moisture kind of evaporates from the sugar, it's gonna create bigger bubbles of just sugar towards the end, and that's what we're gonna be looking for. So it's been about 6 minutes here, and we can see, if we give a light stir, we can see that the caramel and the pumpkin seeds are kind of one. There's no more separation. And you can see there's less bubble, and the bubbles are kind of bigger coming from the bottom of the pot. What we're looking for is the simple syrup to be reduced enough and to be fully coating the pumpkin seeds. All right, so I'm about 8 minutes now, and I'm gonna take this here and I'm gonna put it on this tray that I have a silk pad, which is kind of ideal. It's a silicone pad on top of a tray. But if you have parchment paper, that will work. And if you have I did it yesterday with aluminum foil, which is not ideal because it kind of sticks, but you can still do it with it. So I'm just gonna pour those pumpkin seeds and the caramel right on here. I'm gonna spread them, but I don't wanna spread them too much. So what's gonna help us spread them is if you have any oiled or like any grease tool, you could use a spoon or anything like that. And you're just gonna gently spread them into one layer. If you were to spread them too much, that's when the caramel is gonna get a little too dark too quickly. So you would have like, if you spread them too much, you would have kind of like little burnt areas. Also, as you put them in the oven, they're gonna spread a little bit more. So to me, this looks good. It's like a nice 1.5 layers of seeds. Before I put it in the oven, I'm gonna use like a nice high quality salt, like something like Malden or Fleur de Sel, and just sprinkle it on top to finish it up. So there's a little salt in the caramel, and there's gonna be a little bit of salt on top as well. All right, so this is going in the oven at 325, starting with about 8 minutes. We're gonna start checking at 8 minutes, and then we can go up to 15 minutes. So the reason I'm doing a caramel sort of in 2 stages like that is because, first of all, caramels are very intimidating. And if you do them all the way sort of on the stove, to me, I've always been intimidated and not so good at it. So I like to do a 2-stage caramel. I take it to about a stage that's just coating on the stovetop, and then I put it in the oven and finish it up to get maximal flavor, color, and even caramelization, because in the pan it's just gonna like burn in a corner and not be so even. So that's why I'm doing 2 stages. Also, just to help you, now that we have a pot that has a ton of sugar that's cooked in it, one way to clean it really easily is you just fill it up with fresh water and bring it back up to a boil like on the stove, and that's gonna clean like super, super easy. So that's my pro tip on caramel cleaning. All right, so my oven sucks. So I had to let it in for at least 20 minutes until we get that nice, dark amber color. The reason why we're gonna get it so dark is because we're making sure all the moisture is out of the seeds and out of the caramel. And that way we get something that's gonna stay nice and crunchy for longer. Take it to like 3 shades darker than what you feel comfortable with, and then you're gonna get like the best result you can. Now we're gonna let those sit for at least 15 minutes. It's extremely hot caramel, so you don't wanna stop fucking with them right now. So let them sit, and then we'll just crack them and store them in a container and keep them around as long as you can. So it's been about 10 minutes, and look what you can do. You have this beautiful candied pumpkin seed that you can just crack. So this is just an awesome way to use pumpkin seeds instead of tossing them. And as we know, they have an immense amount of nutrients. It's just a matter of enhancing it with a ton of flavor, such as this beautiful caramel and smoked paprika and flaky salt. All that together really comes in nicely and handy to have around your kitchen. You can top any soups or salad or roasted pumpkins or whatever you feel like. They're good as a snack. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you try it out, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next week.